Okay, I'm removing the water pump on a 2002 Ford Windstar with a 3.8 liter V6, and just wanted to show you how you go about doing this and some of the stuff you're going to have to remove. First of all, you're going to have to get the wheel off over here, this little dust flap, and I have actually removed both of the motor mounts up here. Well, I've got one loose and it's just lifted up. This back one here I've gotten out completely because I was doing some other work, but you're going to need to get both motor mounts loose so you can lift this up basically, and you're going to lift it up about like I've got it here. Not real far, 2 or 3 inches usually do it. I've got it where I can pull it up here and slide it out. And I'm going to be replacing the gasket on this one here, and it's got that paper gasket, which is, it's really hard to scrape it off, so you have to like scrape it off with a razor and everything just to get all that paper off. It's the most difficult of gaskets to remove. So anyways, this is some of the stuff you're going to have to remove, and I've got the power steering off. I've got the alternator and the alternator bracket off and out of the way, and you're going to at the very least have to remove this stuff to be able to get in here. And of course, you'll have to take the lower radiator hose. You'll take this upper, there's an upper hose that comes from here, and it's got a bracket here and back up in here, and you'll have to remove that as well to be able to slide this thing out, and I'll be putting that back on. But right now, I'm going to go about getting this gasket on here. Okay, now this is the gasket that's going to be going on here, and I've just kind of used an old-timer's trick. I've put grease on this on both sides, just a light coating, and you'll get different opinions. You can use whatever you want. It's your vehicle. You're going to be the one removing it, but this is what I'm using because I know if I have to mess with it again, it's going to come off of there without having to do all that scraping and all that work. And I guess all they make is paper gaskets for these, so that's what you have to use. And these things, I don't know what they do when they heat up. They glue themselves to that aluminum and to the block of the engine there, and just one of the most difficult things to remove, to try to get off of there. So I'm using this grease and it'll work. I've used it before. And so now I'm going to go ahead and get this set on there and get the water pump. I'm going to first remove the water pump out of here, but let me just show you where I've got it here. If I can do this one-handed, you can see how I can lift it right out of there with it as is, and you just pull it out of there just like that. So we're going to go ahead and set the gasket on the studs and then place there, and we'll get this water pump set back. Okay, and I've got the gasket on there and just set it right back into place again. See how easily it went on. And I'm just going to work on putting the bolts and the nuts back where they go. And I'd previously made a diagram and wrote the number of the bolts as they come off because they're all different on there. Here I've just started putting all my bolts. You've got 5 of these studs. You got 1 here, 2, and you got 3. You can see down there in the back, 1, 2, 3. So you got 5 of those. Now, one thing I was going to mention, when you take this water pump apart, more than likely you're going to have some bolts that are going to be rusted on there, and it's going to pull the whole stud out. Now, if it pulls out this one, right down here in the back on the bottom, you must put some sealant on that bolt where you put it back in there. For whatever reason, it's I guess goes into a coolant passage, but put sealant on that one. So anyways, you'll have some bolts that rust on there, and instead of trying to fight with them and mess with them, just throw it in the trash, get you another one if you can. And like I said, I just got some new nuts. They were a little bit different size. The head on the boat was smaller. So I just got some washers and put on there to adjust for the size difference. Doubt it matters much, but I did it anyway. And these over here were fine. They actually came off. So I'm going to go ahead and start beginning to torque this down next. Okay, I'm just going through here torquing all these down now, and I'm going 20 foot-pounds or 240 inch-pounds. I'm using my inch-pound. The main reason is mine, my foot-pound doesn't seem to be real accurate when I get down to 20, because it only goes down to 20, so I just prefer to use the inch-pound. But right now I'm just tightening them all to 240 inch-pounds. Everything's torqued, and now we're just going to go about putting back our hoses and our other brackets and the power steering back there, and the alternator bracket here and the alternator. Alright, I have tightened down this bracket and this bracket and reconnected that hose, and I'm fixing to work on putting that power steering pump back in. Don't forget to reconnect your lower hose here before you put the power steering pump on. Okay, I've tightened that fitting in there with 18 millimeter. Reconnected this hose and there's a bracket right there, don't forget that, for your hose.